How does it differ from other antioxidants like, say, coenzyme Q10 or glutathione?
Well, those are used in the Krebs cycle and are actually nutrients that go into our body's chemistry. Whereas C60 is strictly this antioxidant and doesn't become part of body chemistry, doesn't need body chemistry to like reset. Like if you have SOD, right? SOD will interact with superoxide and it changes its form. And then you have to have some ATP and an enzyme to reactivate your SOD. So it goes
Mm.
back into a thing. So that's using some body chemistry, whereas C60 just does it itself by pulling positive hydrogen ions from the aqueous environment around it. And so it doesn't need that. It doesn't need that. So it doesn't burden the body chemistry while it's working.
Oh, that's great. Well, is there anything to validate this or is it just hocus pocus?
There's just dozens of studies. Now you can go to our site, shopc60.com, and we have human studies that are posted there. But
Huh?
of course, three-letter agencies say you can't, post other types of things, such as animal studies.
What if aging isn't about slowing down, but leveling up? I'm Dr. Isaac Jones. This is the Longevity Leaders Podcast. Welcome to the Longevity Leaders Podcast. I'm here with Ken Swartz. I'm so excited for you to hear about this incredible breakthrough in technology for brain health, for energy, as well as for increasing your health span, as well as your lifespan. We're going to talk about some of the research behind this amazing secret product we're going to dive into. But Ken, thank you so much for being here with me. And I look forward to hearing a little bit about how you discovered C60 and what got you so passionate about it.
Well, I was working on a fusion reactor project, and there was a lot of late PhDs and kind of associated with it. So I didn't want my crew or myself to end up in that category. So I went looking for another radiation protectant. And I came across this stuff called carbon 60, C60 for short. Its scientific name is Buckminster Fuller. And what it is, it's 60 carbon atoms shaped exactly like a little soccer ball.
Hmm.
And they'd give in the science research, they'd given like one set of rats that got C60. Of course, the control didn't. They hit them with a fatal dose of radiation. Of course, the C60 rats lived while the control group, of course, died. So
Wow.
when I learned about that, I got C60, a couple sources of C60 for a crew and myself, and we took it during the experiment. We're all still around, so it obviously worked well in that case. But what happened is about I kept taking it even after the experimentation was over because I had more energy, better mental focus. It just added a little extra edge to my life. And
That's
I went,
great.
yeah, I went to see my optometrist for my annual checkup and my DRUs or dry macular degeneration, which I'd had for years and it was slowly progressing. I was using the lutins and the xanthins and all that kind of stuff, but it really doesn't. It was just slowly progressing, had completely disappeared.
Wow.
And my optometrist was rather astonished with that because he'd never actually seen that happen in his many years of being an optometrist, I guess, practice. And so, but in the meantime, my electrical engineer on the job, Gary Rodriguez, had developed severe wet macular degeneration. He also had type 2 diabetes, which probably contributed to it.
Hmm.
And so I made a preparation of C60 and MCT coconut oil, because as you know, MCTs can be turned into ketones by your liver, which then are flex fuel for your cells. So if you got a glucose processing issue, that's really an important thing to have. And
Yep.
he's an engineer, so like he records everything. He records like how long he walks the dog every day. Little anyway, so we know exactly how much he took. So he took a tablespoon a day for 15 months, and his severe wet macular degeneration went away.
Wow.
And going blind really sucks. So after that, I started making it for friends, family, and myself. And then I shared it with alternative healthcare practitioners I had, and they had great results themselves. Then they shared it with their patients, and they had great results. One day, some internet influencer who'd been using the product mentioned how it saved his and his wife's life. And well, that's how the company C60 Power came to be.
Wow, that's amazing. Yeah, I first learned about C60 back in like I think 2016. Is that when you started it?
Yes, yeah, that's the year I started the corporation.
It was a longevity doctor who, sweared by the C60. He must have connected with you directly. And and I think it was at a time where I don't think you had launched product yet, but he maybe got some product or whatever. But he sweared by it and, as a medical doctor in like his 70s or 80s, his name's Dan Stickler, but he was talking about just the benefits of C60 and And what I would love to know though is how did you know to even look for carbon 60, and how would you even have thought that it would help with radiation protection?
Well, I just went out looking for a radiation protectant.
Okay.
And that's just by doing about I do research. I'm a research scientist. I've run research labs, and so, like, I was running the fusion lab, and so I'm pretty good at research, and I just went through all the availables, and C60 seemed to be, the most potent one, and,
Wow.
and it worked.
So if somebody, let's say, is near Fukushima or Chernobyl or something like that, they should definitely be taking this product, right? Like, is this something that you should just have stacked up just in case of a nuclear exposure, or maybe even, like, I know a lot of billionaires are buying like private islands and homes to protect themselves against nuclear,
Yeah.
collapse. But if you didn't have like the money to buy those little like lead suits that they buy and all this other stuff, you could just have C60, right?
Yeah, and, what it is C60s are kind of a unique molecule. What it's found to do, it only neutralizes 2 oxidative radicals. One is superoxide, the most
Mhm.
damaging oxidative radical in the body, and the other is the hydroxyl ion, the second most damaging oxidative radical in the body, and since the body doesn't use either of those as signaling molecules, it
Wow.
has no toxicity at any level. They've taken it up in animal studies to 10,000 times the health beneficial dose, and there was
Wow.
still no toxicity because it
Wow.
doesn't it's an antioxidant, but it doesn't interfere with the signaling pathways, nitrogen oxide or hydrogen peroxide. The body uses those
Mhm.
for like nitrogen oxide vasodilator or contractor, depending on the level. And so it
Mhm.
has no toxicity to other level. And it's also the only antioxidant that can improve athletic performance. In fact, we've had a lot of people that were mid pack go to champions in their field using C60. And oh, by the way, it's not
Wow.
banned by any athletic organization. So just letting you know.
Wow, that's great. And the indirect, I assume, pathway is that when you're down regulating superoxide and then you're getting rid of the hydroxy radicals, your ATP production goes up, your glutathione goes up, like everything is functioning at a higher level. NAD plus, I assume,
Yeah,
right? Is that
yeah, everything, and it just takes much longer for the lactic acid buildup because
for
C60 is unique because it's an SOD mimic, SOD catalase mimic, and it passes the gut barrier, passes the blood-brain barrier, goes into the cells, and then into the mitochondria, where it's used as an SOD catalase mimic. Now, back in the ancient days when Earth first formed, C60 is made in meteoric impacts. There is actually geologic deposits of C60. It's hydrophobic, so it floats, but it's lipophilic, so it attracts like abiotic fats and stuff like that. And if it was in a really, really cold environment, C60 would fit in the side groove of the RNA molecule, or
huh.
the groove of the RNA molecule, side groove of the DNA molecule. They think it's the original scaffolding from which RNA and DNA chemistry started. And so things like superoxide dismutase and glutathione and catalase actually were created by life to take up the place of missing C60 billions, 4 billion plus years ago.
That is so fascinating. And so the like, how does it differ from, say, like humic and fulvic acid?
Oh, it's an allotrope of carbon. And so it's
Uh-huh.
kind of unique in nature, and as you can see, it's a spherical molecule, and fulvic acid and those, they're kind of almost, I don't know, maybe nutrients, they go in the thing, but C60 is kind of unique because it is very specific, it fits that one bill, and it also doesn't interfere with any of the body's chemistry. It won't react with drugs, nutrients, minerals, anything like that. Kind of what's unique about it, you can kind of see it in here, is it's the only molecule in nature that gets a positive charge in an aqueous environment, not by donating electron to the environment, but by actually pulling positive hydrogen ions inside of its cage-like structure.
Interesting.
And that makes positively charged, then something negatively charged molecule, like say, like superoxide, will stick to it. The C60 takes the electron, donates it to one of the positive hydrogen ions, turning it to hydrogen gas, and then just releases the oxygen to go back in the Krebs cycle. And
Mm.
then it just pulls another positive hydrogen. In the mitochondria, as you know, the outer membrane of the mitochondria is positively charged with a lot of hydrogen ions, so it just basically fills up with hydrogen ions, becomes positively charged, kicks off heading toward the inner membrane, which is negatively charged, where it neutralizes superoxide and any hydroxyl ions it finds along the way. Then it runs out of hydrogen ions. Some superoxides will stick to it, making it negatively charged, and it goes back to the positive ion, neutralizes those, fills up again. So you can have hundreds of thousands of these bouncing around inside your mitochondria, kind of lowering the level of superoxide. And so the damage that you get, people will notice it. Like you'll be able to work out longer, lift longer, run longer,
Wow.
and DOMS goes way, way down. So
And what how does it get out of the body then?
it
Is it
doesn't make
just
any permanent chemical bonds, so it washes out. There's 2 studies. Some say it has a half-life of 4 days in the body, the other says 10. It just kinda washes out like
wow.
billiard ball, like, goes out in the through the kidneys and through the liver. It just kinda washes out, and so you
Wow.
renew it every now and then. But it takes
So
so
it's
somewhere between 4 to 10 days it kinda takes to build up in the body, and then once you get that level, then you really start seeing some of the benefits. I mean, it goes in your mitochondria and just restarts them. And because, as we get older, SOD levels go down.
yeah.
And then your mitochondria, because they have their own DNA, have their own thermostat, so they have to turn down their processing to avoid being damaged. So when they get C60, they can turn it back up so you get more pregnenolone. I mean, you get more ATP, but you also get more pregnenolone, like molecules for the synthesis of RNA and DNA. The mitochondria does a whole bunch of different things. And so
Yeah.
where the mitochondria can do, it's going to increase with by taking C60.
Now I just wanna, for those that may be, not understanding some of the words that you're using, SOD is superoxide
Yeah.
dismutase. It's the enzyme that breaks down superoxide in the body, and what he's saying is that as we age, essentially the catalase enzyme as well as the superoxide dismutase enzyme SOD downregulates, and then the bioaccumulation of hydroxyl radicals as well as superoxide radicals, which are the worst free radicals in the body. Like he said, that they don't do any good within the body. There are free radicals that do us a lot of good, but this particular, carbon fills up with hydrogen that then attracts the superoxide and hydroxy radicals or hydroxyl radicals inside of the essentially the Buckminster Fuller C60 soccer ball, if you would. And so what it sounds like, Ken, is you have the C60. It'll be bouncing around for say 4 days in your cell or 10 days in your cells, and then after it's essentially eaten all of the could you use this analogy? Once it's full, it kind of like flushes out of the body. If you're a medical doctor, nurse practitioner, chiropractor, or other health expert that's stuck in a broken system, there's a better way. The Freedom webinar shows you a proven 5-step system to build a 7-figure virtual health practice, or how to modernize your current brick and mortar practice without the burnout. Learn to create high-ticket programs, automated income, residual revenue, and attract clients ready to work with you. Book your $1 million strategy session today by clicking the link in the description.
Yeah, it's just a diffusion solution. It just kinda diffuses out of the body, because
Wow.
it doesn't make any chemical bonds, so it can't really, hang around. So it just, as you know, body process things through the urine or
Yeah.
elsewhere, it just kinda goes out, and so the concentrations will just keep dropping.
So your body doesn't create C60. You have to get it from like, and is there toxic forms of C60 that have mercury or, just similar like to humic and fulvic acid, depending on where you get the humic and fulvic acid, one can be very toxic and another source can be not so toxic.
Yeah, well, there is that. I mean, there's 2 ways that C60 is really made. And we
Uh-huh.
use sublimation. Now, sublimation is like evaporation. It's when a solid turns into a gas, then back to a solid, and that's done in a sublimator, and that's how we get 99.99% pure C60, the highest on the market. Now, a lot of C60 is industrial. There's a lot of industrial uses for C60, like organic solar cells and things like that, and usually that method is they use methylbenzene to purify it, and then
Mm,
they take the methylbenzene out of the product, and then say it's pure. But methylbenzene is probably not something you want inside your body. And so if you're looking for a C60 product, just make sure it's sublimated C60, not oven baked or ESS or some of these other ones that are out there, because they're just really industrial processed C60, and you really don't want methylbenzene in your body.
It's a carcinogen, right? It's
Yes, it is.
like,
It's a no, and just like benzene is, yeah.
yeah,
And
you don't want that in your body. So how does it differ from other antioxidants like, say, coenzyme Q10 or glutathione?
well, those are used in the Krebs cycle and are actually nutrients that go into our body's chemistry. Whereas C60 is strictly this antioxidant and doesn't become part of body chemistry, doesn't need body chemistry to like reset. Like if you have SOD, right? SOD will interact with superoxide and it changes its form. And then you have to have some ATP and an enzyme to reactivate your SOD. So it goes
Mm.
back into a thing. So that's using some body chemistry, whereas C60 just does it itself by pulling positive hydrogen ions from the aqueous environment around it. And so it doesn't need that. It doesn't need that. So it doesn't burden the body chemistry while it's working.
Oh, that's great. Well, is there anything to validate this, or is it just hocus pocus?
Oh, there is just dozens of studies. Now you can go to our site, shopc60.com, and we have human studies that are posted there. But of
Uh-huh.
course, three-letter agencies say you can't, post other types of things such as animal studies. So there's a 501(c)(3) website called whatisc60.org. That's
Yep.
whatisc60.org, and you can go there and it has like all the animals studies and all the good ones and the animal, the humans, and also there's some types of C60 that don't work. C60 has to be dissolved. It's a nonpolar oil, so it has to be dissolved in a nonpolar substance such as an oil. We all use, kind of the Goldilocks of oils that don't go rancid, such as and they aren't like seed oils, right? So olive oil, avocado oil, and MCT coconut oil. And
That's
because what
great.
happens is particles of C60 have no efficacy, in fact, can be inflammatory. So it has to be dissolved. So you'll see studies out there where they say it's inflammatory. Well, yes, they use particles of C60, which it's just like silica is important for teeth and bones and other parts in your body. But if I ground up a bunch of glass into small particles and gave it to you, that wouldn't be a good idea. And it's the same with C60. It has to be dissolved in an oil to be bioavailable and actually have any value for you.
Well, that's great. And what are some of the like what do some of the studies talk about? Like, is there anything around longevity, health span, energy, brain function, anything around wrinkles or
Oh,
decreasing,
well,
you know,
okay, the first human study was actually a
ah,
cream they made for Japanese women, and the C60 was put in the cream, and it was found to reduce lines and wrinkles in Japanese women.
oh
Of
wow.
course, the story of C60 was discovered in 1985, got a Nobel Prize in chemistry in 1996, obviously because of its unique kind of shape and behavior in nature. And then in the early 2000s, they went to do toxicity studies, and they used Wistar rats. Now, Wistar rats are a pretty wimpy rat, and when they gave, like, they had one set, and then they had the C60 Wistar rats, and the C60 Wistar rats lived 90% longer than controls. Now,
Wow.
the primary reason is Wistar rats usually die of cancers, and there was no cancers among the C60 Wistar rats. So
Wow.
that's why they live 90% longer. But they're kind of whippy rats. So another study was done with mice, wild type mice, which is more characteristic of what you expect with human beings. It increased the lifespan of wild type mice by 11% and completely prevented cognitive decline during aging.
Wow. Wow. That's amazing. And so have you heard of any anecdotal evidence that this has helped with cognitive decline in humans?
Oh, huge amounts. Oh, we just hundreds from our customers. That's the first thing people notice: better mental focus and more energy because it restarts your mitochondria. And yeah, we've had a lot of people, well, hundreds, I guess, come back from like early stages of dementia back into functionality. And
Wow.
and really it works with any cell type which has a lot of mitochondria in it. So you're looking at your brain cells, of course, have a lot. Muscle cells, obviously the heart, that has a lot of mitochondria, and cells, the endocrine system. And that's another thing that's well, that is a counterindication for people out there. One of the things that when you take C60, it'll restart your adrenal glands. And one of the things that the adrenal glands make is mineralocorticoids, which regulate your blood pressure or your blood, quote, thickness. And so if people are on a certain blood thinners, If they start taking C60, it can restart the process which balances the blood. So if you're on a blood thinner, then your blood can get too thin. And to a certain extent, one of the other side effects is C60 increases libido by a large amount. And we had an example of we had a 70-year-old guy. He's he w- he had testosterone levels like 350. He went to his doctor. His doctor said that's kind of low. Gave him creams. He was running around 700s, and then he started taking C60. And 3 months later, he went in to get his quarterly, I guess medicals from his practitioner, and his testosterone level was in the 1200s. So the
Wow.
doctor backed him off of the creams, so that's another kind of side effect. It's a little slower. I mean, we've had other things though, but one of the other tests, they did a test with rabbits, and, they basically gave rabbits arthritis in the joints, then they injected C60. There's a polyhydroxynated form. It's very expensive, but they use it in experiments. It's just a delivery method. The C60 has to strip off the hydroxyls before it becomes active. And then they found that, of course, it got rid of the inflammation in the rabbit's joints, which was expected, right? That's a common occurrence. People can do it when they put it on their, they can rub it on their hands and you'll see that. But what they did is when they sacrificed the rabbits and looked at the joints, they found that the cartilage had regrown in those joints, which
Huh.
was unexpected. And then when they went in and they found it, is one of the things that C60 does, it causes apoptosis of senescent cells, a huge amount of apoptosis of senescent cells. And
And
as
and just to for people,
well,
apoptosis is essentially cell death. So senescent cells are those zombie cells in your body that tell other cells to get old and to become zombie cells, but they give off all these molecules that, really create inflammation in the body. They're real nasty. And as you age, you bioaccumulate these zombie cells. And the only thing that can really stop them is through apoptosis. So you're saying that, and which is cell death. That means
yeah.
cell death. So you're saying that C60 essentially will help to create apoptosis in these senescent cells.
Yeah, well, what we've figured out what is happening, several scientific studies, they've eventually figured out what's going on. Basically, all senescent cells basically go back into the fermentation mode. The Krebs
Uh-huh.
cycle, the AT protection goes away. And so when you take C60, C60 will go into those senescent cells, and cancers are a form of senescent cells, and it restarts the Krebs cycle in the mitochondria. And then those mitochondria will send messages to the nuclear DNA, and they will not get the right message back. And then those mitochondria themselves will basically explode and cause apoptosis in senescent cells. And so what
Wow.
happens is you have a huge decrease in senescent cells all throughout your body, and that stimulates your body to make more stem cells. And then those stem cells are what regrow the rabbits, the joints in the rabbit. We've had other cases, like we've had people that have Hashimoto's for 20, 30 years. They take C60 and then they start getting weird symptoms. They go to their endocrinologist and they find that, now they're they're producing like 30% of what they used to for the thyroid. Because what happened,
Wow.
it went in and wiped out the senescent cells which were damaged. It also reduces inflammation and associated autoimmune disease. That's another big one. And so as the thyroid was being rebuilt, now this took like 6 months to a year, and even 2 years in some cases. Like my case, it was 7 months to fix my retina in the macular
Uh-huh.
degeneration. For Gary Rodriguez, it was 15 months. But for these people, they've had, some of them have gone totally off their thyroid medication because their Hashimoto's went away. So, I mean, and we've had also, like, we had a lady, this has actually happened a few times. She went to her nephrologist. She had 30% loss of kidney function.
Wow.
Nephrologist tells her it's just going to get worse till you need a transplant. She takes C60, goes back 100% function. And we think a
Wow.
lot of this is just due to the large amount of stem cells. We have a lot of surgeons, especially plastic surgeons, which really like it. Their patients would take C60 about 3 months before, surgery because it builds up a huge level of stem cells. And so when you
Mm.
have surgery, then you have a huge level of stem cells. Then your healing goes so much better. And that's really what most physicians, we have hundreds that use our product or prescribe it, I guess you'd say. And what they do is there's the big four antioxidants that really are key to good cellular health. One's CoQ10. You can supplement for that, and you should, especially if you got a little gray hair. The other is glutathione, and they have things like liposomal glutathione and topically applied glutathione, which could do the job, but they've really had nothing for SOD and catalase until C60 came along. So usually what they do is they just get their patients to take all four, all this CoQ10, glutathione precursors or glutathione and C60, and that just covers the big four. And so if you got healthy functional mitochondria and a good base of antioxidants, then any treatment you're going to do is just going to be way more effective. And that's kind of the key that they've discovered.
That's really fascinating. So, question for you about the you had stated no, what was it about the mitochondria? Let me just think here. I had a question specifically about so does the C60 is it able to bind to any toxins or is it strictly superoxide and
Yeah, that's
okay.
all it does. It just does superox on the hydroxyl ion, and and that's it. Pristine C60 is that's all it does. So there's no, it doesn't interact with nitrogen oxides. It doesn't interact with hydrogen peroxides. It doesn't interact with basically anything. It's very it's a very close. It's very close to like diamond. As you know,
Yeah.
diamond really only reacts with hydrogen. That's why diamonds don't oxidizes because they're actually covered by hydrogen, that the broken crystal surfaces just grab a hydrogen, so it's your diamond's coated in hydrogen. C60 is kind of the same way, and so it only reacts with really high energy oxidative radicals, and that's all it does. That's its only job. I mean, it's very specific, but it fills a very useful niche, which before, C60 came along, because you can take SOD supplements, but there's no pathway to get them into the cells. So
Mm,
they pass the blood-brain barrier, or even that pass the gut barrier and they're in your bloodstream, they can't get into the cells. There's no mechanism to pull SOD into
wow.
a cell because they're always made in the cell and the pathway just doesn't exist.
And so it is in essence a senolytic.
Yes. Yes, I guess you could say.
Wow. And being in this space, knowing, what binds to what would you say are some of the best binders for environmental toxins
Oh,
outside of C60?
well, you should take your fibers. I mean,
Mhm.
that's why one of the best things for fibers, because like your liver will excrete like neutralized hormones that are damaged and stuff. And if you have a good fiber, those all of those bile and other things that the liver excretes sticks to that fiber. And then,
Yeah.
of course, it's expelled from the body. And that's why, it's probably if people just are not eating any fiber, well, then a lot of those hormones that the body has excreted will be reabsorbed in the large intestine and come back and be a problem for you. So, yeah, having fiber in your diet is like really, really important part of a diet. And of course, C60 is
Yep.
just one tool in the toolkit for good health. We all know what we have to do, like magnesium, all kinds of micronutrients, vitamin D, vitamin K. I mean, there's so many things that are deficient in the standard American diet that,
Right.
I mean, you just have to supplement. Of course, good sleep, the staying away from toxic environment and toxic people. I mean, we
Yeah,
all
yeah,
know,
yeah.
yeah, we all know the whole things what we got to do. And C60 is just one tool in that toolkit for good health.
That's good. Have you seen a reversal of gray hair with this?
Yes, yes, we have. We had a lot of people that are totally white, and then they take it, and then they go back salt and pepper. And my hair used to be more grayer. I'm 64, almost 65, so I'm doing pretty good. But it
Oh,
slows it down. It's not going to stop it.
yeah, yeah, yeah,
We
yeah.
don't have
No,
that
I just
magical pill, but it definitely, it decreases like the test animal. And there's lots of other test animals like they took, and they've done lots of things like the neuroprotective effects. They've done studies. You can go to whatisc60.org, and they put different nerve cells in test tubes. Of course, one have C60, the other it don't. They hit them with a variety of neurotoxins, and the one C60 nerve cells resist it. They've done it with human skin cells. One has C60, the other doesn't. They irradiate them with UV light. The C60 cells with C60 resist damage from the UV light. I mean, they've done a lot of well, they've done a lot of test tube studies because you can't really do a lot of studies on human beings. So usually it's just
yeah.
human cells in the test tube or animal studies. And there's just a whole bunch of them and of all
Wow.
different ways, but and they've all been really positive and the thing, but you got to remember it has to be dissolved C60 or polyhydroxynated, which is the injectable form. But the nitrogen oxide will strip off the hydroxyl ions really rapidly, and it'll become pristine C60, and then go into being an effective antioxidant.
Random question. What do you think about the hydrogen therapy that also takes out a lot of hydroxyl radicals?
I think it's great. I have hydrogen water in my house, and
Okay,
C60 and
cool.
hydrogen therapy go together like I guess chocolate and peanut butter. And so it's just, oh yeah, that C60 is like a hydrogen gas sponge. So like normally if you do hydrogen gas therapy, it'll just once you stop, it'll dissipate within 11 minutes. because hydrogen gas just goes everywhere. Whereas, well, it will stick to C60. In fact, some will be pulled inside and then slowly dissipated out, and the C60 can use it as an antioxidant neutralizer. So yeah, it's see, I definitely think hydrogen gas therapy, I know from my personal experience, is an excellent thing.
So could you supercharge the C60 by taking it with the hydrogen water?
Oh, well, you put it in there. I mean, it takes 4 to 10 days to get out of your body, so it builds up, but if you take if the C60 is already in your body, it'll suck up a lot of that hydrogen gas and then slowly release it over time, making whatever hydrogen gas therapy you're doing much more effective.
That's amazing. Oh my gosh. That is, I mean, we're this is blowing my mind a little bit because it's the opportunity to be able to sustain hydrogen release in the body is huge, but also the removal of superoxide, which is like the worst free radical
Mhm.
in the body I mean, this is breakthrough. So you talked about how it impacts your longevity, right? How it impacts your health span. You talked about how some people have experienced like reversal of gray hair and wrinkling, and it makes sense because if it acts almost as a senolytic, which is like something that removes a lot of the senescent cells out of the body, then your stem cell pools will increase in the body. And that's one of the main reasons. Like, why do we wrinkle? I was at the University of Wake Forest University's Institute for Regenerative Medicine talking to the lead scientist there, Dr. Anthony Atala, and he said, you know, women wrinkle, men wrinkle because the stem cells in their skin exhaust. And so if you want to produce more collagen in your skin, you want to up level the amount of stem cells in your body. And so this is like one of those kind of secret tools, I guess you could say, for longevity, for anti-aging, for beauty. But what other maybe clinical breakthroughs have you seen that you'd like to share or any like success stories?
Well, Jess, our CEO, has developed a whole line of beauty facial care products
Yeah,
that you, well, if you go to our website, you'll see it, and then and women just say it's a wonderful, great thing. In fact, I've been taking it, and so, well, they're putting it on topically, I guess. So it's I've never really done that before, but anyway, it seems to appear doing good. Yeah, the main thing is it's just, I mean, it just kind of everything just gets better. It's like you go back 10, 20 years in your lifetime. You know, your mental focus is better, your energy is better, the aches and pains go down. It's a really great thing. Yeah, so that's kind of what I've experienced and so many other people have. And you know, you'll go through different stages. On the first week or 2, you and up to the month, you're gonna get the better mental focus, more energy, because your mitochondria are, working more efficiently. And then over time, things like the stem cell increase and various other things, you're gonna get long-term improvements, at 6 months, a year, and that stuff. And that's kind of amazing things that, I had some nerve damage. I used to kinda race dirt bike motorcycle racing and stuff, and I've had a few wrecks in my time, and I've noticed, well, a few broken bones as well. I've noticed the aches and pains from the broken bones have gone away, and some of the severed nerves have kind of regrown a lot better. And so yeah, that's I've noticed some of those old injuries, and we've had a lot of like ex-football players and other guys, basketball guys, that just find that their knees and their backs just get better over time, which is which is really nice.
that's great. Oh my gosh, that's awesome. So you've seen a lot of results with like arthritis. What would you do? Earlier you said if somebody is on blood thinners, what would you do if they want to be on C60? What would you tell their medical doctor to do to be able to get them on C60 and just monitor their blood thinners?
Well,
Obviously,
that's what I would do. I just have more testing. I would,
yeah,
go on, so instead of doing like a 3 months testing, go after a month, go in, how much has it changed? Because remember, this change, the restarting the adrenals doesn't happen overnight. This is like a 6-month to a year process as, stem cells get in there and all the other processes that are going on. So it's not gonna happen overnight, but, I
yeah,
just think more monitoring, and in the same with hormone things, because it'll increase all the level of hormone, because the mitochondria make pregnenolone, the precursor molecule for the hormone. So you're going to get more melatonin. You'll get better sleep. You got the human growth hormone in your thyroid hippocampus complex. Oh, anyway, and then there's all kinds of other, various endocrine systems in your body, and all of those will start coming online and producing more hormones, or because there's more pregnenolone production, and so you'll have all that effect that you noticed.
wow, wow. And this is the way I think. Sometimes I want to go further faster. I want to go hard. I want to like, oh, if this works at this dose, let me take 10x the dose and see what happens, right? But I always, that's how I used to think. And now I'm getting smarter. Don't go so hard if you would. But yeah, I just wanted to ask you if you say doubled the dose or you went on triple dose, could you get the effects faster?
I don't know. I mean, we had a doctor that was doing that. He was taking like 2 ounces a day, which is a pretty heroic dose, and he swears he was, becoming telepathic because, his wife would come in the room and he'd know what she was gonna say, or he'd just get up and do something and, go do what she was gonna do before she asked him, but women said, "No, he was just responding well to training." So so I don't know if he's becoming telepathic. So, but,
Right.
that we have yeah, that's just yeah, when you take a large like I do a thing because 'cause I'm a scientist and, I think I have a process where I take, like, a little bit every 15 minutes, and I can do math like I used to be able to do in my late 20s. So,
Wow.
because as
You
your
take it
brain
every 60 minutes?
yeah, well, yeah, like, when I'm doing, like I'm working on, like, a math problem or some scientific where I'm trying to, like,
Oh,
figure
right.
out the problem, I have a method where I take it, like, every, like, half an hour or something, and just a little bit, right? And so it, like, supercharges your brain so that you're
Wow.
and I can do the math that I used to be able to do in my late 20s, which I haven't been able to do, like, at that level for, a few decades, let's say. So
So
a lot
so
of
what
those past things come back.
That's great. Whether you get the olive oil, the avocado oil, or the MCT oil, should you take it, throughout the day then versus just 1 dose?
Well, we recommend it in the morning. You could take it maybe in the morning. It tends to be stimulatory because the mitochondria get going. So if you take it too late in the evening, it might keep you up. But it's
Okay.
just it's so we just basically the morning to midday is probably the best time. No, it's for some people it doesn't matter. They can take it right before they go to sleep, and it's not a problem. But there's also people that can drink coffee right before they go to sleep. I'm not one of those people. So it's
Yeah,
depending on
yeah.
who you are is probably how you're going to be wanting to take it. And just experiment around with it a little bit and kinda learn how it works for you.
No, that's good. So, I'm on this ultimate longevity stack, which is like a lot of what you talked about, coenzyme Q10 and urolithin A and berberine and the things that upregulate NAD plus, like NR, nicotinamide riboside, and things of that nature. And it's in these little cups that like, that is essentially like 20 supplements in just a cup. But you know, practitioners, they have their protocols that they give to patients. I've got my kind of supplement stack. I don't like to overdose, I guess you could say, on supplements. I've been to a place where I've eaten 300 supplements in a day kind of thing. And I'm in a place in my life where I'm just like, okay, I want to try to simplify my protocols, make them most efficient. I want to do that for the people I'm serving as well. But I just wanted to get your take on how doctors can integrate this into their protocol, or if somebody's listening that's a non-doctor that has a certain supplement stack, like how should they be integrating this into their health?
Well, one of the things is C60 is dissolved in an oil, right? So, probably you wanna do it you wanna take it with the B vitamins and vitamin D and other oil soluble. So, it's a great thing to be taken with your vitamin D, your vitamin Bs and other nutrients which are oil soluble, and probably a little bit of butter with it on top just to get you all those fats because, with having extra fats when you're taking those oil soluble, you know, nutrients is gonna allow their digestum to be a huge amount. Because what's good is taking a vitamin if it's not gonna be digested, so, generally just taking all your oil soluble, vitamins and other nutrients together and the water solubles together at a different time is generally a good idea, and C60 would be with the oil soluble ones.
I love it. No, that's great. And then the dose is what, like 3 tablespoons a day? What is it?
It's about for me, it's about I use well, it should be about a teaspoon and a half, 2 teaspoons a day, basically for because if you got gray hairs, you get, SOD productions down. So that's what I do. If you were, like, young in your 20s or 30s, it might be a teaspoon or 2 teaspoons a day, but as you get older, you just need more, so I'm, like, at the 2 tablespoon level. So,
I
as I
was
get
gonna
older, it'll
ask you
go
that.
higher. That's just kind of we have an age and weight calculator on our website, shopc60.com. And so you can kind of
Okay.
figure it out there. And also, if obviously if you're fighting a health issue, taking more is probably a good idea. I think beyond 3 tablespoons a day is probably it's you're not there's no toxicity, but you're not going to get any added benefit. Because we've had oncologists that use C60 and they've had great results. And but they're using like an ounce a day, three a or ounce and a half a day, and it's kind of weird because they get at the end of 13 weeks they get remission, complete remission, but they don't lose their hair, they don't get sick, and
Wow.
yeah, so when you take this 'cause and because C60, goes against the senescent cells, it's not neutralizing, the various, whatever chemos they're doing on that, and it just seems to strengthen the healthy cells and weaken the bad cells, and
Wow.
they get really, really good results. And in the studies, they found it completely there's a lot of studies which you can find on whatisc60.org because we weren't gonna put that on our website, where it has those anti things. And in the obviously the Botry study, which is with the Wistar rats, it completely prevented the occurrence of cancers. So it has some benefit
Wow.
of that. It's not gonna fix it if you already have it, but it definitely has been found to be very useful when used in conjunction with other treatments.
Yeah, one of my close friends, his daughter just came down with brain cancer, and it's got to be tough as a father to have a daughter that's dealing with that. But there's some really cool things that are coming out, and just in that world, they're talking about. There's this essentially like stem cell vaccine where they take your stem cells, they kind of expose it to things outside of your body, like that will help to up level and up regulate your immune system function. So they put it back into your body, and it activates the killing of brain tumors and things of that nature. And it's an expensive procedure. I mean, it's a six-figure investment, but it's something that I think is very, very, very powerful, that personally, like, people that I know have done it and have gotten really great results. But it sounds like whether you're taking a more traditional path like chemotherapy or radiation, or you're taking a more holistic path, like you're going down to one of the natural cancer institutes that are out there, it sounds like it could make a big difference.
Yeah, it's a support, and it doesn't interfere with, haven't been found to interfere. This is anecdotal, of course, and I'm not a medical professional, and I cannot give medical advice. I'm just a research scientist. So, but from what, yeah, we've seen, it's as an anecdotal experiences, and it
Wow.
has been found to be effective in some of the studies, which you can find on whatisc60.org, and others we didn't post in there because it's you don't want to press buttons, and it's in even for a 501(c)(3). So.
No, totally. Is it a substance that has an antioxidant score like an ORAC score?
No, it really can't because an ORAC score has to kinda interact with body chemistry, particularly like, xanthins or lutins or various forms of, antioxidants. They kinda become part of body chemistry, and 'cause C60 never becomes part of body chemistry, it can't really have an ORAC score, kind of outside that zone. I mean, I
Mm,
suppose you could make a synthetic ORAC score to do it, but it wouldn't be an ORAC score because it doesn't become part of body chemistry, it's kind of outside of it.
right, right. That's amazing. And I mean, there's a lot of different longevity products out there now. There's new ones coming out all the time. Breakthroughs I'm hearing about, companies are wanting to sponsor my events and things of that nature that are interesting. But how does C60 stand apart? Like, what makes it unique or different?
Well, it's a really good support. I mean, it fills that gap of SOD, catalase, and of course, the hydroxyl radical is also usually taken care of by the glutathione. So if C60 is taking care of a lot of the hydroxyl radicals, that means the glutathione that you have can go to do other important things. So it's a really good base. It's been found to increase lifespan of test animals. And I mean, it's not the end all. It's just one tool or an important tool in the toolkit for good health. But obviously, there's things like I don't know if you've seen the FOXO4 treatment results
Yeah.
getting. It's just amazing. I mean, there's just so many. Yeah, every month a new amazing.
Share to the listener what the FOXO4 results have been.
Yeah, they basically they did it with basically they took 70-year-old rats and made them like 45 years old. Their gray hair came back and their balding patches just came back all healthy, looking good. And then there was supposed to be a there was doing some human studies in Switzerland, but they never released the results. But some sort of clinic suddenly started happening. So you can go to
Yeah.
Switzerland and get the really intense FOXO4 treatment and go from 70 years old to maybe back to 45 years old physically. So, yeah, that's and C60 hopefully could be part of that because it would definitely kind of help in that whole thing. But yeah, you just see all of these just amazing things. And like one of the things with C60 that we've had, like this was totally discovered anecdotally, is that people actually telomere length actually increased.
Wow.
Because
Wow.
usually with older individuals, because they took a lot of C60, senescent cells are wiped out. They're replaced by stem cells, which have much shortened telomeres. So we've had people actually increase their telomere length. But it's not because it's increasing the telomeres in any particular cell. It's because it's wiping out the senescent cells, which have very short telomeres, and they're being replaced by stem cells, which have almost a complete set. And so the telomere length, average telomere, because when you take that test, right, you're doing tens of thousands or hundreds of thousands of cells. They're testing the telomere of all of those cells, not just, not just one cell. It's
Well,
an
with
average.
the methylation biomarkers that we have access to now, we can, really get some good pre and post information out there about, how this is working. It'd be interesting to see a study done on some of the methylation tests that exist out there. No, that's really great. And one why isn't this has become like popular? Why is this not become mainstream yet?
Well, I mean, it's out in the biohacker world. Biohackers, some of the alternative medical people. It's like in the early adapter stage. It just hasn't really broken into the public consciousness. And another thing is there's not a lot of human studies yet because it's C60 can't be patented. It's a natural molecule. You can't patent vitamin D. They do have some where they attach ligands to C60 and then attach medical various pharmaceuticals. It's actually like an HCl replacement. So you'll probably see, medications with C60 as the delivery, as an HCl replacement, in some medications here before too long. I know some of the big corporations have actually made patents on that, but that's as a kind of a carrier past the digestive tract rather than C60 as itself. Though the C60 itself will have benefits once it's gets absorbed into the body.
So it passes right in through the membrane
Yeah, it just
because it's
it's with endocytosis right in, just
mhm,
goes right through the gut blood-brain barrier. I mean, the gut barrier goes through the blood-brain barrier, goes right into the cells through endocytosis into the mitochondria. It's like the cells know how to use it, which kinda supports
mhm.
the idea that this was the original antioxidant of life back 4.5 billion years ago.
No, it's good. I mean, ultimately, part of the key element of longevity is optimal mitochondrial function. Like,
Yes.
what can we do to optimize mitochondrial function? And it just sounds like this is like one of the superpower products out there, maybe the superpower product out there that will help to optimize mitochondrial function. Would you agree with that?
Yes, I would, I'd say, but it's not the only one. Remember, you gotta
Yeah.
take your CoQ10, you've gotta get your glutathione, and there's various
Yeah.
other, NAC and all those others. It's just
Yeah.
one, but it's a really important one, and, all together, that can really help your mitochondria increase function.
I mean, I love it because I have a stack. The only thing I don't have is your product, but I've got this. I've got the glutathione. I've got the coenzyme Q10 here. So everything is covered. But I certainly I've learned a lot about this C60 product and I'm excited. One of my best friends swears by it, which gave me the confidence to have you on the call. He's like, you got to talk to Ken. His name's Dr. Jockers. If you go to drjockers.com, you can see what he's up to. But it's very, very cool. Like what you're doing with that. So what excites you about the future of this C60 kind of universe, I guess you could call it?
Well, I mean, we have actually come up with a new method of making it a lot. Right now, C60 costs more by weight than gold, even with its increase in value. And so we're coming we have a new method. Eventually, if we get investors, we can a new method which will make C60 a lot cheaper than it is produced today and much more pure. Well, the sublimation is the key. You always want to use sublimated C60. Don't we're kind of stay away from the methylbenzene kind of purified method. And if they aren't saying it's sublimated, it's methylbenzene. So that's kind of a thing. But yeah, I think with the lowering of price, I think I think 20 years it'll be ubiquitous, like vitamin C. It'll just be part of
Yeah.
everything, and but, right now it's just starting, it's in that pre-adapter or early adapter stage, and those people and that's why, you got the biohackers and the alternative healthcare medicine people, and
The
those
longevity hackers.
Yeah, those guys they're the ones that are discovered. They try it, it's useful, it really helps them, and they use it, and eventually it'll make it out there into the mainstream. But the main thing is just get some for yourself, test it out. You'll see the results yourself, and then you might decide to, recommend it to your patients.
So if you're a doctor, where do you get this? If you're somebody listening that's just really interested in longevity, where do you get this?
Oh, shopc60.com. And on the shopc60.com site, there's places where you can become affiliate or buy it wholesale, so you can get a better discount that way. And so those are out there. Chaz is our affiliate guy and doctor guy, so you can talk with him, and he'll Chaz at shopc60.com, and he will
Wow.
hook you up and kind of give you an introductory pack, and you can test it out for yourself. And it's you also test it if you have animals at home. That's one of the best
Yeah.
things. You can see the performance increase. They just get so much better. They get off the couch and start running around
I
like they
don't know
when
if
they were
my
younger.
puppy needs that right now.
Probably don't want to give it to puppy. Yeah,
I'll,
so I mean,
I'll wait.
C60,
I'll
yeah,
wait.
yeah, C60 really is the most effective in the gray-haired crowd. Because when you're in
Yeah, yeah.
20s, early 30s, you think you're invincible, everything goes on. But when you get older, things start slowing down and you start noticing. So that's really where people find C60 is very effective.
Well, Ken, thank you so much for your time today. This has been wonderful. I've enjoyed connecting with you and just I love talking to scientists about their discoveries and things that will really help make a big difference and impact for the people that we're wanting to serve. So, thank you for your time and guys, go to shopc60.com to check out more. Thank you so much.
Glad to be on.
Thanks for listening to the Longevity Leaders podcast. Our Longevity Leaders community is on mission to transform 100 million lives by 2040. If you enjoyed this show, please share this with somebody that you know, especially another doctor or physician, but also click that follow button. Until next time, stay strong and live long.